Debs Johnston, owner of HashtagPR, and I consult to various PR agencies and companies.
Okay, we've worked together. PineSize has worked together with you probably from the start, and I think we helped you a little. Well, you helped us a little bit to get started. Tell us a bit of a history. Where did you start? What's your background, and how did you get to where you are today?
So I'd been working at an agency for over 11 years, and I had decided to take a break. And when I had come back a year later, I was sitting around a boardroom table and I was just like, oh my word, nothing has changed. The way people were consuming media had changed, but we weren't telling our story any differently. And I remember seeing a tweet from you saying, hey PR, I'm in radio, where is my sound clip? And at that point in time, I just thought, this is it. We need to start changing the way we tell our stories.
Have the clients bought in to multimedia yet?
Oh, definitely. I think that the way people consume their media has fundamentally changed. And I think that agencies and corporates definitely understand that. But at the end of the day, you need to find a PR team that understands how to use multimedia platforms so that you can start telling your stories in different ways.
It used to be just a little video soundbite or an audio soundbite. Now we're talking podcasts, we're talking live streaming. I know one of the big clients that you work with does a live stream every single year at their big event. How have things changed from that moment when you were in the boardroom to before lockdown? Because obviously lockdown has changed. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah. So I think that there'll always be a place for the traditional press release and traditional PR. How you incorporate multimedia platforms into that is what really needs to change. And you mentioned before, we have an event where we set up a live TV studio and you have 1,000 people attending that event, but throw in live streaming and now you have an additional 1,000 people seeing your event. So it's thinking creatively in terms of how to tell your story in order to stand out in a really, really saturated market. So using things like podcasts and videos and sound clips and webinars and really taking all those things that we have at our disposal and telling our stories a whole lot better.
Costs have come down a lot, and it's really easy just to point a cell phone at an event and stream that live. You and I are doing a Zoom now. We're in lockdown. We kind of have to. How important is that quality, that having a professional camera crew there, having a professional that knows how to set up a shot? You don't have the jerkiness of the video and the audio as well, obviously, to make sure it sounds good.
No, I wouldn't suggest you do it on your own. There are affordable professional suppliers out there, just like PineSize Media, who can really help you along your multimedia journey.
The lockdown has forced people to realize that video is a thing. Do you think people are going to be knocking down your door saying, can we please do video conferences in the next? Because I can't imagine rooms of 100 or 200 people anymore.
So we chatted earlier about COVID-19 and the fact that it has changed and will continue to fundamentally change the way that we communicate in the future. So, for example, we have traditional events becoming virtual events hosted online and becoming interactive. And we have webinars and video conferencing. So all of these new ways of telling our stories is emerging. So we really also need to think about that and how that's going to change how we communicate in the future.
You mentioned costs. Video is expensive because video cameras, editing, all those things. What are the quick entries that we've been doing for years as podcasting? Are the companies and people that you're working with realizing that podcasting is a thing?
In the world of PR, if your main objective is to punt a product, the media house will most likely come back to you and say, look, this is something that you need to pay for. So what I've found successful in my business is draft a media release, talk about the trends within the industry, talk about how the product may change the industry, and then at the end of the release, include the podcast link that you've created so that anyone who's interested in finding out more about the product can click on the link and listen to the full podcast.